Frank is an English bulldog that has already undergone some rehabilitation with Dean Miller after sending a family member to the hospital.
And it looked like a chunk of his lip was missing.
So that's what made me stop trusting her.
They had a lot of problems with who's the boss in the family.
Okay, sit. Sit down.
And I think
Sit down.
Frank the bulldog was beginning to think that she ran the house.
Don't let it get you, don't let it get you down. Don't let it get you, don't let it get you down. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Today we're working with Desmond Child and his family, Curtis, Roman, Nero, and their bulldog, Frank. Desmond Child is one of the most well-known songwriters in the pop and rock industry. He is best known for songs written for Ricky Martin, John Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Garth Brooks, and the list goes on and on and on. But he was unable to solve his problem with his bulldog, Frank.
What are you doing?
When Desmond Child and his family first got their bulldog, Frank, they knew there were some issues that had to be dealt with.
I used to come home after being gone for 2 weeks, and I'd go into Curtis's office, and she'd stand there at attention and look up at me like I was a stranger. And so this started to happen more and more often.
And we'd have family members come to visit, and she would come and jump up on them. And I got nervous because my mother's in her 80s, and she could very easily have pushed her over.
Desmond Child and his family called me to work with their dog, Frank. Frank is a bulldog that had sort of taken over the role of leader in the family.
It started to become unpleasant, and she started to get more and more frantic and more territorial.
Frank had seemingly learned her place in the family, but there was still one lingering issue.
I came in, worked with Frank. Frank has become a really wonderful dog since that time. But Frank has one lingering issue. And Frank's issue is cage aggression at the veterinarian. Hey, Curtis, how are you?
It's been really weird.
Is she? Why? What's going on?
No, just because we
really need Dean to help us get on the other side of that, because there are times that we need to take her to the vet and she needs to be comfortable.
You've worked with her before, right? You've seen her do that? Okay.
Many times.
Oh, okay.
So when Frank first started coming here, her aggression was very intense. You could not get her out of the cage without her lunging at you.
Oh, hey! Frank is used to the vet that he goes to, and he knows the people there. But that hasn't changed his sense of aggression toward people when they try to take him out of the cage. I had to go in and sort of walk not only the staff through the process, but walk Frank through how we expected him to behave. When Frank behaves this way, if I retreat, then basically her behavior works. And so it makes me run away and it strengthens her position. And if I'm too aggressive or assertive, it makes her feel more defensive of her corner and her cage, so it makes the behavior work. Oh, hey! Do you feel safe doing that or not?
She doesn't scare me.
She doesn't? When we first arrived at the vet, we brought in a vet tech so that she could come in and directly approach Frank and see if the behavior was still the same. And unfortunately, it was still the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this really slowly, and as you'll see, as soon as Frank comes out of the cage, this will all dissipate. But it's because she's in there, it's because she's in the cage and cornered, that she feels this stress and this need to defend it.
Frank has shown enough aggression to the vet tech, so Dean steps in to demonstrate a different way to approach Frank when dealing with cage aggression.
Hey. We are attempting to make this situation go away and become peaceful so that Frank is no longer a danger to the children who live in the house and to anyone around her. And this is her last lingering issue.
No.
And with just the right amount of assertion, this English bulldog is yielding to the commands.
Okay, good girl, come. Okay, good girl. Okay, come, right here. Sit. Sit. Give me 5. Thank you. You're so good. Frank's issue is based in insecurity and being unsure. I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing this more and more until it starts to dissipate and she's no longer cage aggressive, which we're already halfway there. And so when we solve these aggression issues and cage aggression issues, it will translate back to the home when Frank is feeling insecure and tries to lunge out and control a situation. We're making progress with Frank, and what I'd like to do now is I'd like to try a smaller space where she might be more defensive, a different cage, different atmosphere, and see if we can rehabilitate her in that little area too. So let's go next door and see what we can do. It's very important that we solve these insecurity issues with Frank because they're the source of why she's aggressive. And she's really not an aggressive dog. She doesn't want to be. She's just looking for leadership. And without that leadership, she's trying to control situations in an erotic way. I think we've made some huge progress with Frank. So I think what you're going to see is that in this kennel now, when we go to take her out, that she's just a whole different dog. And it really can move that fast if you know what you're doing. So let's see what we have here. No, hey. No. Hey. So once we dissipate this last final issue of cage aggression, I believe that Frank is going to be the perfect family dog. Okay, come on. Okay, let's go see your dad. I think it's amazing the distance we've come with Frank and the problem we've solved. In bringing her back to her family, I think Curtis fully understands what needs to happen. He's been working very hard and diligently with Frank at home.
I tell you, we owe Dean so much. We came out of the cage aggression situation, and he really got to the bottom of it and helped Frank figure things out.
Everything is different in their household. The dynamic is different, and Frank is a happier dog because of it, because she understands her place, her structure, she has guidance, she has rules, and she understands what is expected of her, and that makes a happy dog.